Hi guys, how are you? I hope you're well. I'm well myself. Love, love moments like this when I feel I should jump in here and share what's in my heart. Um, I'm blessed. I'm blessed for that. My hair is looking funny. Yeah. So guys, as the title says, man, if there is ever a time that God is speaking so loudly about this, it is this time. And I've spoken in the past about how the chosen one, when they discover who they are, or when they relax into who, uh, into their true nature, and the nature would be how I've mentioned how the chosen one discovers along the journey that they're not so strong physically, and they keep doing this thing where they say God will fight for me, and some without even the revelation of it, or a history of being defended, just something, inside that makes you keep saying something you haven't even lived, and then you live it. You see God fighting for you in ways you couldn't imagine. It's like you had an inner knowing that there's a higher power guiding and fighting for you, and then you reach somewhere where it is actually happening, actually taking place, and then God invites you to this place of actively participating. I say actively because the kind of protection you've not even had to learn and live like other people do, where they know the actions and reactions or consequences of their actions, and so they live a certain way. They live with knowledge. You haven't had knowledge. You've just been guided and covered, kind of how, you know, um, children are in their home. Like they don't have a care in the world. Yeah. I really laugh when I see the videos where you see parents visiting their kids home, and they really run amok. They really spoil everything. They really try to act, and show the kids how badly they used to behave in their home, and now they want to, cause the same pain, or that same feeling, just to communicate. You guys used to really be bad. You know how they squeeze toothpaste like it's given for free, or food. Just leave milk open, leave things that can spoil outside, just not having lived that life where you have to provide. And then now you living that life where you realize, oh, God was watching me the whole time, and coming into face to face with your mistakes, so to say, with just how you've lived life. There's so many things you used to do that used to be so annoying, and it would seem like there's no consequences. And then you reach somewhere where God has you in a place of reckoning, no better way of putting it, a place of reckoning. And you've seen so many people who have gone through this in the Bible. And I don't want to veer too far from the story of Jacob, because that is what is in my heart and mind to share. But I've been seeing, like through the book of Acts, my mind is just so there. I've not even started reading the Romans, and just see how Paul, after getting into Rome and facing Caesar, after that, and him, staying in Rome and beginning to write the books from the visiting the church in Rome, and uh, fellowshipping with those people. I haven't started reading that for us like I've been doing. I've just had a pause. Also, I've been like quite busy, but seeing this guy in recognition of how much he used to persecute Christians, and now he's like nobody used to bother him. He was the guy. He was the guy. Uh, Persecuting them, treating them in the worst of ways. He did not believe. He thought this is so foreign and stupid. I will teach them. And he was a guy of knowledge. And then this one time, God just hits him, um, that can only be described like lightning. Yeah, like a lightning hit him and he fell to the ground, woke up blind, and he has this paradigm shift where he had an encounter with Christ asking him, Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me? Yeah. So many people have had that, like living recklessly, acting, in a way like you can't hurt a fly, but you hurting people left, right, and center. You're not being responsible because God covers you. And woe unto you because you've been so broken and so, hurt among all these giants walking around, and you're just a simple person. Then you realize what part you were actually playing in that, how you were affecting people by the way you were walking, because you didn't recognize your own power. Jesus says, the people of the world know what is at stake, or they have knowledge on how, the world works, but his children don't. Paraphrasing, of course, because it's hard sometimes to pull things, especially from the New Testament. That has always been my challenge. Yeah, you find a lot of things I do is because of revelation and finding that similar story in the Old Testament. Anyway, so I've been thinking, yeah, about Jacob and how he came into so much turmoil in his life, couldn't marry the girl he liked. The girl he didn't like was bearing children that he doesn't seem to have cared about, because when these children were in their father's compound growing, they saw so much hurt. And we see where, there's some instances that are just placed in the Bible to tell a whole story that is not even mentioned. Yeah, you just see from that point, what was happening, where Reuben comes in carrying mandrakes that he was harvesting in the field, and Rachel borrows his mandrakes, and Leah is like, you mean you will be asking my kids to do things for you? Like, you take my husband, you take my children, this cannot be happening. And so they strike a deal where Jacob can meet with Leah again. So we see a man being tossed around, and he agrees because he is there, like he's given to that. This guy, from the moment we see him being used by the mom to steal his brother's blessings and being sent away, we see him being tossed and turned, being tossed back and forth, like he has no will of his own. But whenever we see him in action, he's actually so brilliant. Yeah. But I noticed somebody who has gone through what most Christians have gone through, that have had a change of mind, or those people who never used to believe and suddenly they're believing, because now they realize I wasn't just, somebody to be blown back and forth. I realized there's a power in this kind of belief and this kind of, steadfastness. Yeah. So we see where he realizes that Joseph will be born, or Rachel is pregnant, and he doesn't want this woman's child to be born there. It's like he understands spiritual activity, yeah? And he understands there are places you cannot just thrive, And it's like he understands this woman in particular is kind of delicate, yeah? There's always been a war where this woman is concerned. If it's marrying her, I had to work extra hard. I didn't get her. I didn't easily get her. This was just not normal, falling in love and marrying. There was trickery here. Every time I'm getting something with this woman, there's trickery. And let me tell you, a lot of people will tell you that in their marriages they have seen this. Yeah, like every time, oh my God, I see this now more than ever before. I see, in depth, when women say they've been going through something, or even men, I see it. Yeah. And oh my God, I'm like, God, take over, because there's no way we can even prepare our children for what is ahead. Yeah. People ask me, talk more about marriages, and I'm like, unless the Lord downloads this stuff in me, there's no way I'm coming with just basic knowledge or knowledge of what I've gone through. It will never hit the same. Like, there are things people are saying that are so deep, just normal things that people are saying, like marriages like this or like that, that you will not understand until you leave it. And you're like, whoa, okay, so this is what this woman is going through. That is why you see, the commotion even in social media, of women coming in support of married women, you know, because people don't want to believe that marriage can be this challenging. Nikinyanganyiro, yeah. I always think of marriage in that Swahili word, nikinyanganyiro, like it's a battle, yeah. Like people are okay until, you know, they're getting joined together, because now they have work cut out that the devil cannot bear to see happening, yeah. The book of Malachi describes it well when it says that, you know, that God abhors divorce because it is violence against the one you vowed to protect, yeah, and that it is meant to bring about godly offsprings. Now you would think, who are these godly offspring? If it is the offspring that is protected so that they can live in a godly manner. And you know, that godly thing in this world, I would call it soft life. Because when people are living in a way that they believe, they do not care about the capitalism in the world, they don't care about money, they don't care about, you know, showing off, you know, having fancy things and showing that just to show that you're successful. They only care about pleasing God. Those are people who come from softness, because poverty will make you sin. Poverty will make you, you know, be just violent, right? And the devil just steps in whenever you're not operating at your best, yeah. When you believe and are so relaxed, you know God to be God of your ancestors, or what do you care about? You know, when your ancestors were like Abraham, so wealthy and endured, wherever he stepped he was blessed even more. Whoever did him wrong ended up paying him more. That kind of soft life, that kind of favor makes you so relaxed in God. You don't even need to you know, it is not, you don't have to fight. But you know, the Bible says, since the days of John the Baptist, the violence take it, and they take it by force. So you cannot give up. You cannot, you know, settle for defeat. It is so easy to just say, I am tired of these things that I'm doing, tired of this family, tired of this job, tired of living like this. I know I deserve better. That is already installed in you, you know, but you don't get it, right? And like the book of James says, you desire these things, but you do not get them. And you do not get them because whenever you get them, it is for you to just please yourself. You do not think generationally. You do not think about what God wants, you know, for you to do. You know, it is so funny. But those people who have reached a place where money no longer matters, like, you know, God will provide, yeah? Like, you don't have to have it. You don't have to have it. You don't have to hoard it, yeah? You're like, you let go. You let go of everything you ever thought you understand, and just turn to God and let, you know, you hand everything over to God, yourself, your family, and you see God just taking over and covering you so that you have no need to worry. I think it's in Psalms where it says, you know, no, it's Proverbs where it says, this woman laughs with no fear of the future. Is it Psalms or Proverbs? If you're there, please hook me up with that. She laughs with no fear of the future because she knows that God has her, you know. And so even though you go through problems, you realize that Jesus did too. Like he said, I'm not coming for peace. I'm not coming to, you know, give you peace and a soft life, but you will get it when you're in him. It is peace that surpasses all understanding. It is living like, you know, I'm not of this world. So these worldly things that you expect me to fight, I'm not gonna, you know, because this is not me. I am a child of God. So my life is going to go this way as he lights my path in the direction he pushes me to. He won't even have to push. He will just show you, this is the path. You should go that way. And if you follow, always, there's always goodness and mercy, you know, in your path because you have believed. Like sometimes after the journey I've been through and seeing how I used to force and fight, and now being in a place where even when I fear, because the very first thing God will tell you is that do not fear, you know, and you're like, I've never really been in control. And he's like, that's the plan. Don't be in control because I am, you know, what I want is a vessel to feel, right? And when you act, you know, properly as a vessel, you just get better and better. You know, it says so in 2 Timothy. So these are the things that I will never, you know, really forget, because of living that, you see that he will do something that you don't even expect to get a reward from. And as you just obey, right? You remember when we were kids singing, trust and obey, for there's no other way but to be trusting in Jesus, but to trust and obey, so in those times that you're fearful, because what the first thing that God says when it comes to you is that do not fear, right? Because life will not be as you expect. You see people living this way, and you can just imagine how they are living. You want that, but you do not even know how to do it. Yeah, you're not strong and mighty in the land. This does not, this way of living does not belong to you, right? So if he says to do this, you have to trust and obey, because everything else, when you give into the kingdom, when you seek the kingdom first, everything comes to you. So these things won't even matter. You'll just be like, hiya, how am I living this life? Me. How can it be me? It's because you came to understanding, and I believe that is not by might or by power, but by the Spirit of God. When he installs these things or opens your mind to the things that you should know, because it's not even just knowledge alone, right? Knowledge, just having knowledge doesn't help you if you don't put it to work. So that is wisdom. So not only will he allow you to come into knowledge, it won't matter you coming into knowledge, as long as you are able to, apply it, open your mind and heart to that knowledge and then apply it. Now that is wisdom, yeah? That is a gift like what was given to Solomon. It may not make sense to other people, but it's like you seeing this knowledge, you seeing this word, accepting it and then practicing, yeah? Stepping into it and being like, God, I believe. Most often we come to it just because we failed so much and been hurt so much. So we are like, I'm not going to go that way anymore. I'm heading this way as, directed by God. And you see, because he is not, I only know this word in Kikuyu, he's not naughty. So whenever you just begin to trust and obey him, you have to understand the journey might be like Paul. I see Paul where he's away, I think in Greece, and he tells the people, I'm supposed to go to Jerusalem. And in this journey, I see so much torture. I see being, I'll be jailed. There will be violence, you embrace that, because the things you have done, you don't deserve any better. And then you see, as you give yourself in, to God, as you let yourself, because you understand. Let me tell you, there's so much defensiveness that comes with not understanding. You think, oh, these people are out to get me, I have to defend myself. But when you realize your own defense won't work and you let go, you let go and you let God, you see that no matter what you go through, hell and high water, he's there and he will protect you, yeah? He is amazing. He's an amazing God, yeah? So we see Jacob coming to the place where he realizes, I've been tossed and turned so much, but now I have this guy in my arms. There's no way you're going without blessing me. I want blessings that I feel these are blessings. See the things you guys promised me when I was on the way to my uncle's, and I've never seen them. All I've known is fight after fight after fight, Like, I can't even have my love, because me, as far as I'm concerned, this is all he ever asked for. Oil at Laban's. I want this girl. And to get this girl, he got so much torture. I wonder if there's a time he was like, hey, was it worth it, But we see, despite him getting her, she comes in with her gods even, yeah? Like she has her mysteries, yeah? She has her issues. And this guy is not even able to, turn her mind, because why would she carry those, They were running away from the father that practices this kind of sorcery and prays to these idols. And that is what she carries anyway. So he doesn't have her, never had her, by herself, but maybe at some point, yeah, because we see again, Rachel, having to loan the guy to Leah because in exchange for mandrakes. After that, we see Joseph being born. And then when Benjamin is born, now she's becoming a mom. And she's gonna reproduce even more. Not reproduce, produce even more. What happens? She dies. She dies and is buried on the way to the promised land. so he doesn't get to keep her, you know. And this is crazy, because at this point, you know, like when Joseph was being born, when this woman that he cherishes so much begins to become a mother, you know, begins to be productive, he's like, I cannot live here anymore. Now he's coming into his own, you know. And now, as he's going to a land where he can be on his own, no boss, no uncle boss on top of him. And this is the moment that his blessings are coming to him. Like, he can see, if I mess up this moment, you know, because I'm not going to meet my brother and be under somebody again. So possibly with everything he had gone through, he was gonna compromise and just give himself to his brother, you know, to be treated anyhow. So he knew, if I don't get these blessings before daybreak, before I meet my brother, I am his, you know. And you can see he must have known how the brother was operating, because up to date, the Edomites are known for being powerful, mighty, and strong. Yeah, those are the people who are mighty in the land. They are physical people, not spiritual. Not him, who has to wait for time and chance, you know, to be able to do some things in order to get to the next stage. And so he's clinging to this guy like, you're gonna give me my blessings. How many people have gone through that? Have you had that kind of experience where you're like, okay, I've tried on my own with what I knew. I know now, I've come to the end, and I know there's something else. Like, there has to be something else. You know, if not, then I'm at the end. I could take myself out, me, myself, or God, you can just take me out at night. You have my permission, because I've reached my end. And just when you think this is the end, God unravels a new beginning that you could never, no eye has ever seen, no ear has heard. And he does that because he can, you know. And he reveals everything, you know. And you see, there's no way I could have worked this out on my own. There's no way. So he's a God who reveals secrets and gives you a new beginning that you never even thought was possible, you know. So yeah, in looking at Jacob, like, the guy never lived his life until that moment, and then he reaches the land and he just gets tired. He's not raising his children. He's not saying anything. These guys went and killed a whole tribe of people. He's not saying anything. And he stays with that bitterness until the end. We see when he's dying, that is when he calls his children and tells him the things that he has been harboring in his heart for the longest time. When I tell you that that is a spirit, and when we read these stories, we must recognize what we are actually learning, especially where, as we are growing older, you know, one thing that, you know, people are so scared of losing as they grow older is that control. Yeah. And it gets so crazy for most people. You would think it's just women. I speak because I'm a woman, but a lot of people are so scared of losing what used to work for them, whether it's beauty or strength, you know, your mind. When you get forgetful, your joints, and you get in such a huge competition with younger people, you know, so much so that we never pass on the wisdom we've learned. We don't realize that in exchange for all the things that we thought, things that we didn't even cherish at the time, in exchange for that, God is revealing a wisdom that is supposed to be carried through generations. Yeah. You know, lately I've been thinking about my grandma, and that okay, so this is how this came about. Yeah, I got bitters. I know you guys are seeing bitters. Yeah, bitters, it's supposed to help you with your gut. Yeah, so soursop bitters or black seed bitters. And when I tasted like this, I thought I would die. And it reminded me of this concoction our grandma used to give us. And she was so harsh when she was giving us. We used to be scared of that lady because she could get violent. So she would make us all drink. Yeah, and that would be me, my sister, and my cousins. And she would mix that with tea. It's called wajiroa gedaka in Kikuyu. I'm telling you, you sip that thing, you think you're gonna die for sure. So she doesn't explain why this is good, but whenever we had a stomachache, we even stopped saying, because you know what will happen. You'll be given a sip and it would just make you shake because of how bad it is. Yeah. So the other day I got these bitters, and I tasted and I was like, damn, this is what grandma used to give us. And later, I think it must have happened over the following days. It's like God was reminding me of what else grandma used to do. And she never used to talk about it, but she used to give us honey, yeah? And I would see her processing this honey in, like, she would get a bucket of the raw honey, complete with the, what is it called? Baby, nini inaitwaje? Oh, it's called the honeycomb. The thing you scrape off the honey. You know how when you're harvesting honey, you get those it's like sheets of, it's called the honeycomb. Yeah, so she would get buckets of the honeycomb and process that. Yeah, I think she used to cook it, like, or sieve it. Look, I was a kid, and she would get us the honeycomb to chew. And she used to employ such things all the time. Like, you would never see her, like, she would never give me a shilling to buy biscuits for going to school. But she would give ndoma and ngwashe, and I used to cry. My friends are bringing biscuits. She's not giving these things. She's giving traditional foods. Yeah, she understood how good that is for the tummy. And this week, oh my God, God has been revealing her as the healer she was. Yeah, she truly believed in these things. Like, you'd have to force her to eat, something sweet and all this. Yeah, and after ruining our health the way we have, we come back to these same, traditional things. And I don't know why God had to bring me to that point. It's still in Revelation, but like, those bitters got me thinking about those the honey production she used to do. And wherever it is, she used to get these herbs from and just boil. I used to think this is a killing thing. This will kill us. We will die at night, to a point where I used to try and just wake myself up at night, because I knew this woman was out to kill us, because her aura, the way she used to carry herself, it's like, man, it's like she was so beat. Like, she never used to exist in this world, Turns out the woman was a healer. And in her capacity, she did so much. Like, you don't even know until the end, yeah? The Bible, the book of Solomon, it's Proverbs or Ecclesiastes where he said, it's Proverbs where he says, a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. So not just the generation you're birthing, but the one that will be birthed by your own children. There is going to be a remembrance, yeah. So anyway, Jacob has the honors to bless his children, and he does this thing even with Jacob's children that he didn't get to see when they were being born and all that. He wasn't participating. He was just quiet, watching his children being who they want to be. And then later he even curses some, yeah, to a point where, because they're the children of Israel, in the future, because they're operating so badly. I don't know if you guys have ever seen people who have been living under a curse, whether it's families or whole tribes. I look at my tribe and the way we be rolling, like, we don't have the gift of speaking, which is something that a lot of spiritual people have, especially abroad. Kills me, So a blessed nation that is not operating in blessings because of something that, happened, with your forefathers. And until you untangle yourself from that mess, or you reach a place where God is sending someone, because sometimes it's like you're in a sleep state until somebody comes, like how Moses came and just, blessed Reuben. Okay, so you guys, so this is my whole point. We see Jacob as a blessed person that had to exercise that blessing, because you have to work out your salvation. But then we see that he ends up cursing despite him being blessed. Like, wherever he went, he would be blessed. Yeah, it's only in this Laban's home we see even the sons of Laban being so against him. Yeah, but you would think somebody who goes through this much pain will spare his children of pain. But as he sees them coming into their strength, and he's aging, yeah, and he has suffered so much, he gets so tired, yeah. And it's like, because of all the affliction he's gone through, like the guy has nothing good to say. To some children he did, but he had, all these issues, yeah, and he curses his children. Look, we're not going to live forever, but imagine if you left your children in the kind of life or doing a kind of journey like you've had to do. And even though God will spare who he spares in the time that he spares, imagine that you'd hold on to bitterness and pain so much that you never pass along a blessing. And yet every day, with all our sins and baggage, Jesus is saying what? Bring your burdens to me. Let me carry them for you. And I find it is so egotistic where we won't fall, before him, confess our sins, humble, and just get that redemption for us and our children. Like, how dare we? Who are we? That we won't do that. Just humble ourselves and turn to God no matter what, yeah? Because the kinds of sins that our children are committing, are not far from what we've done ourselves or what we had potential to do. And maybe we were just so scared of our parents, right? And we never got to do that. But think about it. If Jacob was a young man and his sister, if he had one, was raped, would he have acted the same way his sons did when they went to, circumcise to kill a whole village, because they were like, bro, we're brothers, we have to protect our sister, our only sister. It's so funny that even as parents, sometimes we don't understand the relationship between siblings, and we would want to come in and just dictate what happens. As mothers, sometimes we're so guilty of acting against our own children. We want to, come in between the siblings and influence each other's thoughts. Whenever we see them fighting, we are like instigating. Man, I'm just saying this so we can be careful and just do better, because God expects us to behave like he does, yeah? Because the whole idea of salvation is so we can be like he is, yeah? It's very possible to be blessed and end up cursing. Like, yeah, it does happen. It does happen. You're so blessed, so spared. Like, you did nothing to get that, but because you fought so hard, you're like, my kids are not fighting as hard and they're being so obstinate. I wish for them to feel a pain. That will hurt you too, that will hurt you too. So I see a lot of women, a lot of mothers changing their minds with all these teachings that have been in this season. A lot of, mothers especially, and even fathers, man, it's the most beautiful thing to see fathers who, felt like they have to be so hard and, stiff, I think is the best expression, to see them just relating with their children and saying sorry, bending over, sometimes letting that child go ahead of you, because that's the whole idea. What does David say? Like arrows in the arms of a young man, so are the children of his loins. I think it says, because children are supposed to go way ahead of you. So when you bless, you're actually blessing yourself. You're leaving a godly heritage, So, man, that's all we have. I know we crave to go out there and just be wild, winners, yeah, but all we have at the end of the day is this generation, of viewers that you can influence, you can bless, you get to. That's the power you have as a chosen one, and we need to recognize the power we have so we can do good with it, So I'm gonna leave you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. God bless you and keep you, make his face shine upon you and give you peace, because that's very important. Ciao.